In case you missed YNW Melly's bail hearing today, the headline reads, "Well, his lawyers believe their release package is more than enough to have the rapper released from jail by using two different angles." Since jails are supposed to protect their inmate population, Mellys mother said in an interview that they have evidence that he is not being treated humanely there, which is illegal.
When you saw Melly's statement, just saying how he's been hurt, how he's scared for his life, as a mother, how did that make you feel?
It's heartbreaking. It made me feel completely helpless. Broward Sheriff's Office definitely needs to be investigated. I mean, they are making up their own rules. We've tried to go to court about this situation. The judge really doesn't have any jurisdiction when it comes to the jail, because we actually had a hearing about the mistreatment of him, and the jail they make their own rules. And I don't think that's fair, because I know that they need to answer to someone too.
They would then show evidence from the first trial that the federal government's allegation that Melly committed this crime inside the Jeep was false, as they had GPS evidence that YNW Melly was seen running down a street and hiding in a bush, according to the cell phone provider he was using.
That would be the part where he's saying that someone just shot the car up and was trying to shoot them. So I asked him if he was okay, where he was, and he's like, there's a car coming behind him, like hiding. He was like, there's some, yeah. He's like, yeah, there's some. I think they're still out here or something. So I'm like, are you okay? He's like, I'm okay. I said, well, where are Sack and Juvie? And he said, I don't know if they're in the car. I think they're...
Melly's lawyers will once again point to the fact that no firearm was found during the first trial to bolster their claims that it was a true drive-by. Given that the offender removed the used weapon and ran away, this lends credence to the theory that it was a drive-by.
So the first thing is I didn't have a firearm, so I can't know which firearm I'm going to use in order to replicate any of my tests. So I can't make tests for this determination because I don't know what firearm was used.
However, he will be given the chance to defend himself and present grounds for why he should not be imprisoned. They'll likely begin with evidence from Melly's cell phone, where he sent texts hours after the crime saying, "I did that. You tell me which side has more convincing evidence."
The PC Gambino account asked him if he was okay, and his response was, "I did that," and placed a smiley face emoji.
And the next message from 10/26/2018 at 16:02 from Eastern Standard Time. The YNW Melly count says what?
After that, SHHHH.
Furthermore, Melly's phone was found dancing in a parking lot while a saved video from someone's Facebook Live was played. This video showed Melly and Bortlands' reaction to the murder, which occurred only 6 hours after it was committed.
Melly still turned regardless of what happened this early morning. He's still out here being very positive. Turned still. Hey! No, still turned, regardless of what happened. You already know.
Interview 03-23-03-48. A renegade OBLAC member would later unearth a new and fascinating piece of evidence, confirming that YNW, Melly's motivation for perpetrating the crime, was Melly's refusal to share money with the other YNW members, despite their seeming indifference to the death of their two best friends.
Really tell you that Melly told him that he was two friends?
He ain't come out and say, like, we got into an argument. And so, you know, if you know, when people could say something without saying it. And so he told me, like, once I posted what I posted, Vaughn was mad at me. Bro, why you put up there, bro? Walter Bam. I'm like, you sitting up here, like, you know the love we got. You do this for us, but you gonna trust that his two friends? And he said, them was trying to extort him. And so I'm like, if they was trying to extort him, then why are you still around?
Since YNW is a registered LLC, Melly, intended for King Vaughn to be unaware of this, unfortunately, Vaughn came clean about it to OBLAC members before he passed away. Yep. The fact that Juvie and Sack Chaser wanted a share of the money but made no attempt to get it was the scariest aspect. For money, Melly and Bortlands staged promotions, sold items, and performed live. Given what they did to Melly's best buddy, YNW Bortland, and his ex-girlfriend Mariah Hamilton, which would ruin his entire life, the prosecution doesn't really care if YNW Melly is given bail until the trial. For one reason only, they filed paperwork to try Melly and Bortland together at the next trial.
Here, and you can try them together. It is to the benefit of the state to try them together, just more efficient. You don't have to do things again and again, do it all at once, and also you get a better chance of having them incriminate each other during the trial. It benefits the defense to sever it. That way they can point the finger at each other and get away with it. So this is what's going on. But I don't think it should be automatically severed because the state is seeking a penalty for Melly, because it's only the penalty phase of the trial that would be different, not the guilt phase. The guilt phase is the same. They're both capital crimes. You're seeking the penalty on one, not the other, but that goes into the second part of the trial, the penalty phase, only if Melly is found.
It's likely that YNW Bortland will blame Melly when things get tough, since he clearly can't sit there and accept life in prison if he knows he didn't commit this severe crime. In the first trial, YNW Melly's lawyer tried to use this against Bortland though, as you may not know. Interview 06400732 YNW. Melly's lawyers even went so far as to call a forensic scientist to provide more information regarding Bortland's possession of that powder residue, because they claim that Bortland was lying to the federal government all the time, and that he was the one who had powder residue on his hands and with Juvie and Sackchaser when they passed away.
Those were his lies. Cortland Henry shows up at Memorial Hospital, Miramar. You don't see him sitting there, but where you will see him sitting is in the driver's seat of a car with two bodies, car riddled with bullets. And when he shows up with a change of clothing, change of shirt, powder residue on his hands, evidencing that he had discharged a firearm. And he lies. He lies about where the incident occurred. He lies about how it occurred. And he lies about not having a phone. I think it was Miss Bradley herself who said, everybody has a phone in his pocket, not Cortland Henry.
Since the incident, Melly and Bortland have reportedly not communicated because of his dislike of this. This is why YNW was given a report upon the approval of Mellier's mistrial. In a mysterious tweet on the day Mellier's mistrial was revealed, Bortland claimed that mind games don't work on someone like me. Recognizing a certain level of agreement, it's likely that his attorney is telling him to remain silent until Melly receives his entire sentence, but Bortland will ultimately speak up. Additionally, Melly's ex-girlfriend, who was recently imprisoned for fleeing the country without showing up for Melly's initial trial, will be supporting
Mariah
the authorities.
Hamilton is spending her first day at the Broward County Jail. She has no arrest record until now. U.S. Border Patrol agents arrested her at Miami International Airport Monday after she arrived on an international flight. Court records show Hamilton was ordered to testify in Demon's first trial in 2020.
She would therefore be released from jail and write to her community, "Thank you to my village. I love you all so much." Once she eventually returned and was quickly caught at the airport. This was God's plan, not mine, because the court had conned Mariah into testifying against Melly in exchange for her leaving the jail in 10 minutes. It's official. Melly has news. They found disturbing proof in Mariah's iCloud account that she was coerced by Melly to not testify during the first trial. Whether Melly actually took Juvie and Sackchaser out or not, it is called witness tampering and carries a life sentence in prison.
The state filing 6 new charges against Demons and 2 others who were allegedly involved. The charges include tampering with a witness, directing the activities of a criminal, solicitation or conspiracy to commit tampering, and unlawful use of a two-way communication device. Now, a couple of those charges actually carry a life in prison sentence if there's a conviction.
Melly will still be sentenced to life in prison if found guilty of witness tampering. even though his lawyers were able to secure a mistrial in the first trial and have him found innocent, because the case would be different from his current one. However, how the feds found out about the witness tampering is even stranger. Federal investigators began looking into Mariah after locals in Melly's hometown posted on Facebook that she was involved in the crime. In order to learn the code words Melly used to persuade Mariah not to testify, YNW Juvie's father even joined them in their investigation, running around town and talking to people.
Mel Demons, YNW Melly, and Cortland Henry, who is known as YNW Bortland, are now charged with witness tampering. There was this kind of crazy way that Melly was communicating. He wasn't allowed to use the phone, but he was passing notes to people, and then this person's calling this person and then that person.
Saying like to me, they going through extreme measures, try to cover up or convince people not to testify, like Mariah mom. They was using code words like Rihanna and A$AP Rocky's baby mom.
He saw the jail phones being tampered with, so Melly, has been kept off of a phone for a number of months. In an interview, Mellys mother, Jamie King, revealed that the county jail had denied Melly access to a phone since the issue went so far.
My son has not been convicted of anything, and even other inmates that have been convicted or anything, they have the right to use a telephone. They have a right to just to be allowed to write letters to their loved ones, to receive their mail. They hold his mail.
But if it's accurate, YNW Melly was tampering with witnesses by using the jail phones, which is why they haven't been allowed. Since the police are involved, they must have proof that Melly was responsible. If it was only a suspicion, they wouldn't simply expel him because it would be grounds for legal action. Is Melly staying in jail? Or do you think this is sufficient proof to get him released? Kindly post a remark below.